Anyway, just welcome to the late night chat. Very late for some, very early for others. And we're going to go on with effort and grace. I did write something up. You probably got the email about, just the grace is one of the themes that runs through effort and grace. So I thought maybe to pause a little bit on that. So, if JC, if you can post that. Hey, wow, that's fantastic.
Beautiful.
Thank you for the new font for
Did it work?
the font challenge, those among us.
Okay. So Marta, who you have
Jennifer,
on tap?
Jennifer's on tap. Do you want to read, Jennifer?
Wow, sure. In fact, I just finished reading the email, Jeff, of this. It was great. Okay. Hi, everybody. Dear folks of Baba, in his book, Effort and Grace, Darwin Shaw refers again and again to the importance and presence of Baba's grace in our awakening to divine love. Several of you have expressed the wish to explore more in depth by what he means by grace. Here is my own winding journey in trying to describe it. In the 1970s, I had been working inwardly for years in trying to more clearly understand the nature of the deeper feelings in my heart. They seemed so various and unique and undefinable. And it was critical to me that they definitely needed to be distinguished from the ongoing happenings in my mind and the superficial emotions of my heart. My deeper feelings all seemed to be like individual planets, each bringing different and specific sensations into particular locations in my heart space. Was there one sun that these unique planets, my deeper feelings, all revolved around? One day, in the old Pilgrim Center in Meherabad, Baba flashed before my inner vision an image that was immensely helpful to me in this. That of the sunlight passing through a prism and reflecting a whole varied rainbow of colors. The colors all have the same origin, the sun, whose light is refracted through the prism to form the rainbow that we see. Baba once said that these colors are identical with the light itself. So in this vision he flashed to me, he conveyed that when the light of divine love, which is always within us, passes through the innermost depths of our heart, it is refracted, so to speak, into our deeper feelings, our better angels. These deeper feelings are actually not feelings, but divine love, the attributes of Baba himself manifesting in our deepest heart. Among these attributes are empathy, forgiveness, generosity, enthusiasm, purity, joy, creativity, compassion, patience, humor, and courage. What Baba conveyed through the rainbow example is that it is the same one love that manifests in the various situations in our life, which changes colors, so to speak, depending on which attributes of love are being called for. For example, in speaking truth to power, courage, empathy, and often a sense of humor may be needed. In responding to a child who is lonely and wants someone to play with, fun-lovingness, creativity, and patience might be what is required. I had initially thought that the deeper feelings were all somehow different in origin, located in separate places. But now Baba, through the image of a rainbow, integrated them all more clearly into my awareness. Because of Baba's metaphor about our deeper feelings, I am inclined to view his grace and his other divine attributes as coming from one source. For this reason, I have never really tried to define his grace. I am always disposed to favor simplicity when I think of how Baba manifests in my life. It is his one love flowing into me and into this world. If his love flowing into my life moves me to make efforts to be more loving, I call it his inspiration. If his love flowing into my life helps me in making difficult decisions in my life, I call it his guidance. If it flows into my heart longing for closeness, I call it his companionship. If it flows into my life, causing me to expand in being, I call it his unlimitedness. If it flows into my restless spirit, causing me to move towards peace and harmony, I call it his being. If it flows into my depleted body and my mind, awakening my vitality and lifting my spirits, I call it his power. If it flows into my depressed and despairing heart, the dark periods of my life, I call it his light. If it flows into me, causing me to make an extra effort to express love beyond my normal capacity, I call it his grace. Yet to me, it is all his same never failing love flowing into me. And it only seems different depending on which situation in my life it manifests. If I were to choose an expression to encompass all the above manifestations of Baba in my life, I would simply call it his loving grace. A friend of mine defined grace in this way: grace is not a noun, it is a verb. Divine love in action. What is Baba's grace for you, and how do you express it in your life? Baba has said his grace is flowing sufficiently all the time to fill one and all receptacles everywhere. But there is rarely a vessel which is not filled with other things. A vessel must first be emptied before it can be filled by the flow of my grace. It is also my grace which helps a vessel to become completely emptied in the first place. And he added, the flow of my grace to you depends upon the intensity of your love, for it is love which attracts my grace to you. In his love, Jeff. Wow.
Okay,
That was
thank you.
great.
Yeah, you read it with nice comprehension, you know. Um, yeah, I should say, what I kind of gathered from Darwin, the trajectory of our life, we go from the mind down to the heart and from the heart to the soul. And when I was young, I was, well, how do you get from the heart to the soul? And Baba gave me that metaphor of the divinely human qualities are the ones that lead us to the soul. So if you trace humor, the river of humor down all the way downstream, you wind up at the ocean of divine love. If you take the river of generosity, you follow it all the way down, it winds up in the ocean of divine love. So all of these divine attributes are really rivers that are flowing into the ocean that is at the heart of us. So anyway, and now, does anyone have anything to say to that about grace, or even in some way how grace might have manifested in your life in some way? But and then we'll get on with the reading that we're doing. But just in case someone has something to share.
I'm just going to say one thing, and that is what moved me the most in what you wrote, Jeff, was I had never really thought about it that way, about, I've thought about what's called for, but I never thought about it in terms of those different definitions that you put in there as all that different manifestation of love. It just hadn't occurred to me. So to me, that was the really powerful part of that, because we do decide how we're going to, it's not address, but respond with things. And we want to respond from the heart, but it is different in every situation what's called for. And it's very natural. I think when we're really in kind of a good flow, then the response of love comes very naturally.
Yeah, and what I gathered from the metaphor that Baba gave me, it's just the same one love that takes on the colors that are needed in that particular situation. But I thought it was like a hotel with all these different qualities living in different rooms, you know. Anyway, yeah.
Yes, Rich.
I just wanted to say, Jeff, that I've read that twice and heard it again, and it's one of the most magnificent things, your expression of that. I really want just to, I could not have verbalized it in that way, and it's beyond me anyway, but that is magnificent, Jeff. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rich. Yeah, it
A
kind of
second.
came to me at 5 in the
Pardon
morning.
me for butting in, guys, but
Oh, yeah.
I have to absolutely congratulate you on this one, Jeff. You have totally nailed it. I mean, the way you expressed your thoughts is so absolutely so true and so exactly what happens with me. So I could not have been more
Oh.
wowed by this letter. This is one of your best letters
Oh,
ever.
thank you. That's good.
I
So
third that
enjoyed.
emotion. I third that emotion. I that was just so incredibly expressed, so incredibly thoughtful
Yes.
and profound. No, really profound and thoughtful. Very skilled, Jeff. We're so lucky to have you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Like I say, I hung around the Mondele with my begging bowl.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, Ron.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Needs a microphone.
Oh, good.
Jennifer mentioned what's called for. And when she said that, it reminded me of what I wanted to bring to the table tonight. And, one of the things that I do around this house is to take care of as much as I take care of the plants, the potted plants inside the house and some on the deck. And so I really enjoy them. And I like to just look at them, or if they have a nice fragrance, go out and smell the fragrance and all these different things. So I did it when we lived in the suburbs, but now out in the country, there's plants all over the place and animals too. But what I wanted to say is that Baba said that I belong to him. Well, you all belong to him. And thus, it's his duty to take care of us. And the way he does it is to provide for what is called for. For instance, if the plant is needing water, well, sunshine is good. There's nothing wrong with sunshine, but if it needs water, you don't just put it out in the sun longer or something like that. He knows just what we need. And we probably don't. I mean, we may have an inkling, but it doesn't really matter what we think, as long as we're receptive to his grace. I see his grace as his care for us in his knowing exactly our situation and providing it. And all we need to do is to look beautiful, smell beautiful, be ready to be pruned as to his what he thinks would be the best, and be in his light, you know. So I think
Yeah.
that has something to do with his grace.
Yeah. No, it's right. I mean, it's coming through from his side into us, and it manifests in all these different ways. But it's yeah, that one love is him coming, entering our lives. It's beautiful. Yeah. Hey, so shall we go on to the text? What was it, page 14 or something like that?
Yeah, I'm going to be sharing my screen. I just need to know where we are.
I th-
I thought
Oh.
it said nine, didn't it say 19?
Oh,
Page
maybe it's
18,
19.
Dan, page 18.
Page
on the-
Page
18.
18. Okay.
18's my
Oh,
lucky.
right, 18. Yeah.
Okay, let me do a sharing here. And then Marta, you'll call on people
Yeah.
and we'll divide and conquer.
Yes.
Hold on.
Divide and unite.
There we go.
Okay.
Do we have,
Sarah, oh, where's it? Sarah,
There
do
it
you
is.
feel like reading? Oh, good. Okay. Sarah?
Okay, just a second. He's got to back this up a little bit,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Okay.
think.
what do I
Just a-
need to do?
You got to get to the beginning of that. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think, let's see, wait, go down a little bit more. Let me just
Is
see.
it the divine chess game on page 18?
I kind of think it was, but just
Did we
scroll
do
it down
purifying our heart? Did we do
yeah,
purifying our heart
that,
already?
the divine chess game is the first, is where we left off.
So
Okay.
we were in
Yeah.
exactly the right place.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure. Okay.
Perfect.
So Sarah's going to read
Yeah,
for
and
us.
there's really valuable things that he says about the inner life. Yeah. Okay.
Sarah? Sarah's coming,
Maybe
I
she
think.
doesn't have her sound on.
Oh, okay.
Are you talking about me, Sarah? Or another
Well, Sarah,
Sarah?
I can't see your face, but I think you're the only Sarah. You want to read?
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank you.
The divine chess game. It takes a while to realize how close we are to the spiritual path and how easy it is for us to get underway on this inner path. I feel that it is not a question of following a doctrine or merely accepting a belief, but a matter of working through our own special cloud of sanskaric veils consisting of our thoughts, feelings, and desires. In other words, it is not working with something out there, but working inwardly to disentangle our consciousness. How
Keep
many
going.
paragraphs do I read?
All the way down to the end of this section.
Okay.
Yeah.
It involves an awareness of where our attention is placed or where our longing is. Fortunately, we do not have to go into the Colosseum with the lions as the early Christians did. However, we are facing something far worse, our own desire nature. Minimizing the desire-ridden ego requires paying attention to countless trivialities, noticing small efforts we can be making constantly. I like to think in terms of a divine chess game. This is not a doctrine or a system, but rather the idea of devising ways to counteract the false claims of the ego. This divine chess game is the game of ourselves, and the object of the game is the checkmating of our false self. This involves trying to change our sanskaric impressions and eventually eliminating them altogether. Just as figures move about a chessboard to counteract a tricky opponent, we are making moves to counteract the sanskaric tendencies that have held us back all along the way. In adapting ourselves to each new inner situation that comes up, we have to strategize and plan several moves ahead. After all, in the midst of battle is not a good time for one to start planning a strategy. Each of us learns to predict what sets off strong reactions in ourselves and develop strategies that best counteract the energy tied up in our own sanskaras. We have to be on our toes to know what to do in each situation. For example, wanting embodies a lot of energy, and we can redirect or sublimate the energy tied up in our desires and scars by turning it into spiritual longing, perhaps simply by reading something inspirational. That would be an example of a chess move. Another counteracting chess move we can make is keeping in mind the fact that the world is merely an illusion. Another one is thinking of self-effacement as something positive. Seemingly small inner moves like these mount up, and after a while they add up to a dramatic redirection of our inner forces. The whole thing amounts to the clearing or purifying of the heart center.
I think that's the end. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. Anything, folks, to say to that as we get back on the gallery here somewhere?
Hold on, I gotta figure out how to do that. It's not saying that I'm stop share. There we go. I'll get it one day in the next 700 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything to say to that? I mean, oh,
So I have kind of a question.
yeah.
So oftentimes we talk about giving everything to Baba, but this is talking about redirecting, which to me feels a little different. So I'm kind of wondering about that. I do understand that, like for me, I've talked about here before, I was had a lot of turmoil about politics and that kind of thing. And I have been thinking more and more about the illusion nature of the outer world. And that feels a little different than giving it to Baba. So are we doing both at the same time?
Yeah. I would say that, both. In other words, but Bob is involved in either case. Say if you say your susceptibility to alcohol, and there's a party that you've been invited to, and you might, you might be susceptible, and you might decide not to go, but say do something that's more in the line of remembrance of Baba. So there you're making a chess move, but it's Baba behind that, inspiring you to, to not put yourself in a vulnerable place. But that's one way of dealing with sun scars, and of course, giving the sun scars energetically to Baba is another way. These are all different ways of coming at clearing out the warehouse of the heart, so to speak. Good question, though. That's
So in
anyone?
every case, Baba's involved, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more you become aware of that, the better it goes, I think. Yeah.
The more, it sounds like then the more you're not getting in the way of allowing him to work through us.
Yeah.
And clean house for us and with us.
Yeah, Darwin always used to say to become a conduit, not a base of operations, but a conduit, life flowing through you.
Diane.
So
I'm sorry, Jeff. Are you done, Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I think I totally lost my train of thought. Oh my God, my brain.
Do you want me to come back to you?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I might have something I was wondering about is, Darwin said that forcing ourselves to change would never work because it'll backfire. But yet, the suggestion here is to make choices that move us out of the way of something that we don't want to be or do or something, change. Don't go to the party where there's alcohol. So part of that is a restriction that I'm consciously making. And so I'm just curious about that kind of restriction as opposed to what Darwin mentioned previously in some chapter about not forcing something to happen within us, but having it come naturally from understanding or acceptance of Baba's wish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Darwin and Baba has said if you try too strongly to stop something happening in you, you can create repression.
Right, yeah, that's it.
You know, so you have to be. It should come from love of freedom and love of love, and not just I got to get rid of this bad part of myself,
Hmm.
and you kind of chastise yourself. You know, it's have to be very. I mean, I've found you have to have self-compassion is a part of this whole process that softens some of those extreme and rigid measures that people take on themselves.
So then are you saying that self-judgment is that harsh
It can
edge?
be, yeah, I mean, to be self-aware, but self-judgment, uh, you know, I think can backfire. I mean, be very observant of what you're doing, but to judge yourself on top of that just adds one more layer. I think that's my.
Hmm.
I had to my early years with Bob. I had to. I was judging myself right and left, and I felt from Baba like, Jeff, you're not going to be able to do this in a weekend. You know, it's going to take time. You know, Bob was very much more compassionate toward me than I was toward myself.
He's like, give
You-
yourself some grace, Jeff.
Yeah. Hey,
Yes, Diane, did you remember? Okay.
I did. So I don't know the exact quote, Jeff. You're better at this than me, about Baba wanting us to breathe, before we act. And I was thinking that when you're playing checkers and you're playing chess, when you're playing chess, you have to take in a breath. You can't do anything fast. It
Yeah.
does not make sense. So that's what I was just thinking about, taking a breath, slowing down. And that's when we call in Baba, for example. And that to me is playing chess.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, for intuition to come in, I mean, good comes in very quickly. It's ready to do the good thing or the right thing, but you have to have a lot of patience to see what love, what intuition has to say. It's usually yeah. Yeah, I
Hey,
guess,
Diane, shall we go
yeah,
on?
yeah.
Okay. Alan, do you want to read? Alan Ray?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself.
Thank you, Alan.
Location of the heart. It is from the heart that all good and all evil come. Jesus spoke about the evils that come from the heart and about the pure in heart. In 1954 in India, one of the Western men who were Mayor Baba's guests asked Baba to speak a bit about what Jesus meant when he said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." So one afternoon, Baba gave us a wonderful discourse on purifying the heart. Baba explained what the heart is, where it is located, and its connection with the thinking function of our minds. Here are Baba's words as I recorded them in my notepad at that time. Mind has dual functions. The impressions that lie dormant have to be worked out, so they appear as thought. This thinking function of mine is known by Vedantists as man. The second function of the mind is the feelings of emotion. This is called antakarana. That means the heart. So what is known as heart is actually the second function of the mind itself. The impressions that are called sanskaras are spent both through thinking and feeling. To the first functioning of mind belong just thoughts, any kind of thoughts. To the second functioning of mind, the heart, belong feelings and desires. All feelings of joy, pain, disappointment, happiness, shock, etc., belong to this antakarana. What happens is, in sound sleep, when you sleep, the impressions lie in a latent, dormant state. Now, what wakes you up from sound sleep? Impressions. They wake you up, impressions of actions done. And these impressions are spent first by thoughts, then desires, then by actions. So Krishna in his Gita said once, let impressions be spent only through thoughts. Then no new impressions will be formed. If you cannot do this, let impressions be spent through desires, longings, feelings, but not through actions. Then new impressions will be formed, but not so deep. But if impressions are put into action, then new impressions are bound to form. This means that the first function of mind is not important. It is natural, but the second functioning of the mind, i.e., the heart, is important because it is the seat of desires. And unless the heart, which I have just explained to be the second functioning of the mind, unless the heart is devoid of all desires, all feelings, that means unless the heart is pure and naked, then God, who is your innermost self, cannot reveal himself. The heart, then, is the feeling level of our mind, and both the thought and feeling levels of our consciousness are parts of our mind. The mind that exists even when we are not incarnate. Our sanskaras, lying dormant in our subconscious as unexpressed tendencies, assert themselves first as thoughts, then, if not checked, as feelings in the heart, and then, if not checked, eventually as actions. Bob explained that we are goaded by sanskaras of all kinds, and he emphasized the difference between thinking about something and doing it physically, and about the difference in the resultant sanskars. Baba said not to worry about feelings and thoughts of taking action. They do bring about sanskars, but these will be minimal compared with their expression at the physical level. Therefore, when we are besieged by desires or strong emotions, we should curtail them at the inner level of feelings without giving them physical expression. But if we do express them physically, we are doing the worst thing we could do because we are only sowing the seeds for more sanskars of a like nature.
Okay, well, let's see. Anything to say with that? I mean, that is really pretty dense.
Gary.
Oh,
Yes, Christina?
So it's very dense, and it leaves me feeling like I should just meditate the rest of my life away. It leaves me feeling like I should not do anything at all. And I don't think that's the intent. But now I'm fearful to do anything. I don't want to make more impressions, right? Or sanskaras.
well, here's a thing. I mean, it's not quite explained there, but when you do things with love,
Right.
you're really not creating sanskaras, or very little. In other
Thank you
words,
for clarifying
I mean,
that.
when you
Yeah.
do something like you invite someone over for dinner and you have a nice spread of a meal, that is not putting a desire into action. That's putting love into action, and it dissolves impressions right and left.
Okay.
So that's the so the more kind of loving we are, like I say, we're putting love into action. But
Okay. So
that's not binding. Yeah,
so
didn't-
the more we're motivated and do actions out of love.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
If you
But
do
Jeff,
things
didn't
out
he,
of, go ahead. Yeah,
sorry, didn't he also say you could think it, you could lust for it, as long as you don't act on it?
yeah. Exactly.
That was hugely freeing when I heard that.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you try to repress your thoughts, you can things can backfire. Let Bob said, let the thoughts come and go. But you don't want to stop this onslaught of lustful thoughts. If they can go through, but if you kind of stop them, kind of with some kind of rigidness, you can it can have you could create repression. Suppression is different from repression. You
How
know.
so?
Well, suppression is like just letting them come but not putting them into action. Repression is even not even allowing the thoughts to
Okay.
come. And it'll blindside you if you're, you think you kind of kept, jealousy out of the picture, and then suddenly it blindsides you because you've been just denying it. But
Mhm.
Papa said, let thoughts come and go without putting them into action.
So it's not necessarily harmful or binding to acknowledge the thought is there, but maybe just to release it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but the thought will go by and it kind of looks attractive, and so you get your feelings and emotions into it. Then that's a little harder to, it stays a little longer as it passes through your system.
Mm.
I mean, what Darwin's talking about is kind of being aware of all this stuff how it passes through us, how it stops, how it gets stuck. Yeah, but we got some,
Ron?
yeah,
Yeah, just on what you were just talking about, what Christina raised was uh, is something I've mentioned before, I think, which is when these thoughts come, they sometimes they start getting really serious, and especially if you think, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that, you're repressing it. Um, but I think there's a creative way to deal with it, which is to lighten it, make light of it, make fun of it. And it usually won't be wanting to come back because it doesn't want to get made fun of and be taken lightly. It really likes the serious part of it. So I think creativity and using one's imagination. I was taken with your example. I think you said, what if somebody invites you over to a party and you know that people will be drinking there, and you've kind of determined that drinking is not going to be useful at this time in your life and you should avoid it. However, there's more than one way to deal with both of those things. Which is, you've been invited to a party. Maybe it's a good friend of yours. You might want to go. You might not want to hurt their feelings, or you might think that it might. So there's a conflict there. But if you take what's important, which is to avoid the drinking, and be make a commitment, you could go to it, or you could stay home. You could do either. You just make the decision and do what's important, not to avoid going there and then feel bad about it and then blame yourself because you're not supposed to drink and all that. So use all the different choices. There's a lot of choices to be made in life. If you just pick one that limits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, yeah, because you can drink a lot of water before you go, so you don't feel like drinking anything.
Yeah, Rich.
Gallons.
Well, this is interesting to me. I think the word that I've decided on here is Chaitanya. But what I mean by this is
That
what I
Chaitanya
mean,
guy again, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
him,
Who's
yeah.
that guy?
I don't know him, but I know I keep referring to him as me. But
Yeah.
um, but the what I'm thinking of is we'll use the analogy of a ship or something like you're a ship, and in order to experience being a ship, you have to sail along through the ocean and watch the skies and watch the waves and watch the fish and the other boats and all this stuff. And so that's your Chaitanya. That's who you are. You're not a car. You don't have rubber tires. You're a ship. And so, how do you begin to rely on Baba as being the ship? Because it's, I'm going to put it in my terms, it's your ego that's driving this ship. I want to be a ship. I like being a ship. I am a ship. How else would I know about the world? About me? And of course, Maya is in there doing the same, the ego. But what's compelling in this for me is how do you transform being aware of this infinite soul, who you are, Meher Baba, by his grace, while you're being this ship. And let's say that you're a military ship. You've got all of these big guns on your ship, and you've used them. That's part of your Chaitanya, your identity. So once in a while you think, boy, I could shoot at that ship. Man, I could knock a hole in the side of that ship. And that's going to cause a great deal of trouble for you. Who knows what? They might shoot back. But so on this idea of Chaitanya, let's say that you're a beautiful woman and that men are really drawn to you. So you have to constantly deal with this issue of encountering men who eyeball you, they're oogling at you and eyeing and all this stuff. But all along, you're just someone who's trying to live life, but you have to deal with all this. So it's another part of that different idea of having an ego. So how do you, and this is what what you were saying about Baba's grace in your editorial, Jeff, was so profound because the little bits of grace that Baba gives us comes in a way to try to direct us while we are a woman or a ship to being aware of ourselves in a divine way instead of the limitations of our Chaitanya. But Chaitanya is that consciousness in creation. So you have to keep going. You still have to be a woman. You still have to deal with all that or a ship. And there's a question in there somewhere. So I'll leave it at that.
You're saying kind of like Chaitanya is like your DNA, your kind of
Yeah,
soul
yes.
DNA that is carried from lifetime to lifetime. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, unless somebody can speak to that,
Bob, you
would-
want to speak to that or shall we keep reading?
no, Bob has got something else.
Yeah,
Oh.
briefly, somebody earlier mentioned the technique of giving it to Baba, and it seems to me that is a lot easier with thoughts than it is when thoughts become desires, especially strong desires. So that there's so much mind chatter that's pretty easy to ignore, but when the thoughts are tied to something deeper, one of those complexes or one of those really deep, strong desires, um, if it can be given at the thought stage to Baba, before it turns into something else. You mentioned once, Jeff, when Darwin talked about giving things energetically to Baba, and at that stage, at that thought stage, that seems to me to be much more possible, if you will. So that's the connection I wanted to make.
Yeah, I mean, when the thoughts come down to the level of energy, of feeling and desire, I mean, it's harder to accumulate all of that in your consciousness and give it to Baba, energetically to Baba. But that's the best thing to do at that stage. Otherwise, if you don't, sometimes it'll project itself down into action. And then then what Baba says, your impressions are much heavier.
So could you say it's going from the nothing or the no thing to the something? We want to try to move it through when it's still nothing. It's not as dense as action or as I think of when something, when you say a thought becomes thoughts, words, and deeds, it's kind of like more and more dense. So to me, that's more and more difficult to move through. Does that kind of sound like what you're saying, Bob?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Thank you. Yeah. It's
Thank
it's
you.
denser, it's harder, it's more closed in. Yeah.
It's more stuck.
Yeah.
And more attractive it can be,
Ah,
you know.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
or
just a
more,
thought.
wanting to take more action.
Yeah, you're invested.
Yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of my life with Baba was putting things into action and then kind of getting back on my feet again. You know what I mean? In other words, given that you screwed up, well, clean up the mess and go on. Don't just sit there and bemoan the fact that you screwed up. Get back on the road again. That's the other part of it. I found, if you is kind of getting back in on the road again. Well, we've got a few.
Sabine?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to clarify something for myself. We have been talking about thoughts, and then Jennifer just said words and action. And I always thought that words are already actions.
They can be. I mean, if you yell at somebody and
Yeah.
basically you're putting it into action. I mean, if you get angry at somebody and scream at them, you're creating some pretty dense impressions than if you just thought of it in your mind as a feeling and kept it from being put into
Yeah.
action.
So sort of if I can't bring love into it, I can indulge, let's say, in having angry thoughts against somebody as long as I don't speak them or act in any other way.
You're doing yourself a service
Mm-hmm.
by, yeah. And the
Okay.
more love you can bring into it, the more Baba you can bring in, the more you can dissolve things up at that level before it gets projected
Yeah.
down into the world of form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find that very helpful to understand that as long as I sort of keep it to thoughts or even desires, it's not creating as strong a sanskara as if I really act on it.
Exactly.
For me
Yeah.
personally, that is very helpful to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Baba spelled it out very clearly there, and it's greatly helpful.
Gabriella?
Paula, we see your hand up. You can go after Janet.
Paula has her hand up.
Yeah.
Get her.
Go ahead, Gabriella.
Hey, J Baba. So I just want to respond to Rich, actually. Love the Chaitanya. Love it, love it. Well, love it too much, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, I liked what you said about that, you're going along, you're the ship, or you're the woman, or you're the man, or you're the whatever you are. And that Baba will sort of make a chink in the wall. Like he'll do something that makes it suddenly like easier to let go or easier to notice that you are then having a thought or having a desire, and then maybe makes it clearer what to do, or you can notice it. Because if if this is what we call grace, I mean, these little moments that Baba throws our way, and I feel really appreciative of how you brought that out, because we're not all on our own with this stuff. I mean, he's going to remind us where we're heading with this. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, beautiful. And sometimes I know, just breaking in here, sometimes you can see that somebody is very angry and they don't even know how angry they are. They're kind of like a time bomb. And often that's because they've repressed the anger and they haven't really dealt with it, and suddenly they flare up, and so there's that manifestation, when it's just right on the edge, ready to explode. But yeah, go ahead. Janet?
Paula, is your hand up? I don't
Oh
see
yeah,
your
Paula.
hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you raised your hand like that. Oh, I see.
Oh,
Okay, go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
raised it like that.
Janet, you'll be next.
I'm just wondering, I'm just feeling, I'm like at the age where I'm doing a lot of life review right now. And is this bringing up a lot of stuff for a lot of people?
Look around.
Oh.
Raise your hand if it's bringing up a lot of stuff that's getting older. Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, it's like I just don't even know what to do with all of this. I mean, it's I don't know, it's just a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I'm alone in all this, that it's like this is bringing
No,
up so
no.
much for me.
All these other people are more dysfunctional than you are, Paula.
Oh yeah, right. I
And
doubt it.
I feel like it's,
We could
I
have a
feel like-
contest.
I was going to say, I feel like it's also the time we're in right now. I mean, it's our age for some of us too, but I think it's this time when Baba is really cleaning house to make space. And so it's part of, at least for me, I feel like it's part of my work to help
Yeah.
clean house for what's coming next.
Right. No,
Janet?
that makes me feel better to hear that. And I found that little quote that I had. It was on I had cut out a picture of a vase, and this statement was on it, and it says, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." It was just very
Beautiful.
beautiful to me and
Yeah.
very timely. It just seems like in our current circumstance.
Could you
Yeah.
say that again?
When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace.
Yes.
Beautiful.
It's
Excellent.
very beautiful.
Yeah. And boy, we got some power hungry people around.
Yeah,
Janet.
Okay.
Janet.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about this. I mean, I understand the idea, that putting it into action definitely reinforces the sanskaric knots and ruts and all of that, and thinking it not so much and feeling it. Yeah. So, but I just heard a story tonight from my daughter about a little 6-year-old girl she's working with who is very traumatized by events in her life, her parents and drug overdoses and all these things. And so she has temper tantrums. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading this, I mean, she's 6 years old. And what are we responsible for? I mean, various ones of us probably have some deep trauma. And maybe like Paula's saying, it is coming forward. And it isn't always coming forward pretty. It's sometimes coming forward, it comes forward with such force that it's hard to maintain awareness. I mean, I think we step back and speaking for myself, I can step back and see and create some distance and invite Baba in and everything. But I may have by that time, I may have actually done some expressing in the world of forms, of not good, of not truth, love, purity, and beauty, but expressing of some of the opposites of that. And I'm thinking about this little girl, you know. I mean, I just want to make sure for myself and maybe as a community that I'm not judging when that happens. You know, suppose I'm trying not to drink alcohol, which isn't exactly a problem I have, luckily, thank you, Baba. But, you know, and I slip and I do. And how not to beat oneself up for actually making it happen in the world of forms. And oh my God, I didn't just keep it in thought and feeling, I actually acted on it. Now I'm really in big trouble because I've really reinforced those sanskars. Do you know what I'm speaking of here,
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's why I said earlier, self-compassion has got to be there too, you know, so that when we slip up, it doesn't go on for weeks or months, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
because if we get too disturbed by something, then we're not in a receptive state for love, and we go on
Yeah.
making more mistakes of a
Yeah.
different type.
Yeah.
So it's important to kind of clean the screen as soon as you can, so that you're receptive to love coming through.
Oh,
That's,
I couldn't agree more with that.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
just saying at times it it isn't as easy as it is to read it.
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, especially youth.
Yeah, yeah.
When
And I
you
mean,
know,
in
you
this,
get our age, you know, some of these things drop away. You know, the worry about writing the famous American novel, the great American novels, is over now. I'm too old. So I'm
not
relieved of that.
necessarily, Jeff.
Huh?
I'm looking forward to your famous American novel, Jeff.
Yeah.
I really am. I think
Ne-
that would be a delight.
Next lifetime, it'll be out.
Oh,
Oh, it'll
darn
be
it.
out.
Darn it. I've been holding
So,
out for that.
hey, so shall we go on to the next one, or was there?
Uh,
Yeah.
We're,
I have
we're
a
almost
comment.
at the top of the hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's read one more, and then we'll call it a night.
Who would you like to read, Jeff?
Let's have Christina read.
Okay. Opening the Heart Center. Meher Baba has said that the book he will give us to read is the Book of the Heart, which holds the key to the mystery of life. That is how important the heart is. So much of our worries, so much of our work needs to be centered on freeing the heart from sanskaric impulses. We do this work through what I call the heart center, which is a feeling center connected to our subjective, subconscious level, as opposed to the reasoning function of the intellect. It is through the heart center faculty that we can become aware of the spirit level of our being. Baba especially emphasized the importance of keeping the heart center open. This is where the spiritual path begins in a conscious way, because it is through the heart that we become conscious of sanskaras at the level of feelings and desires. And it is at this level that we can experience the fullness of divine love, beauty, freedom, and bliss, coupled with self effacement, which is the letting go of the idea of a separate self. Baba says, the ego is the affirmation of being separate from the other, while love is the affirmation of being one with the other. Hence, the ego can be dissolved only through real love. So we must learn how to keep the flow of love in our consciousness, uncontaminated by the I. This involves purifying the heart and keeping love flowing through the heart center. As love flows through the purified heart, we radiate the divine qualities of truth, love, beauty, and purity itself. This is our goal. Letting love flow instead of thinking of selfish things helps to remove veils in our consciousness by dissolving the selfishness, which is based in misconceptions and what Baba calls ignorance of the truth. It is not a matter of arbitrarily forcing the mind or the feelings along certain lines, but entails becoming subtle enough to be aware of how our selfish thoughts are formed from desires, where those desires come from, and what all of that leads to. As we work inwardly, we notice that our consciousness settles more at the subjective level, and our responses to the world flow from that level. Our values are more clearly defined. We see what sense-garic impulses coming through and can make intelligent choices as to how to counteract it. Our real work then is not developing some intellectual practice leading to special knowledge, but learning how to keep the heart center open, which means rising above the level of samskaric impulses and letting love flow freely.
Wow. That we may have to no, let's stop there, and we may have to go back to this because that he gives a very clear picture of the inner landscape there. And how to keep the heart open. So how to maintain that flow. I think we'll go into that next time. Is that and maybe even read that one again.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
particular section is really loaded.
yeah.
And it gives you a picture of what we're up against, what we're dealing with. And yeah, any comments on along the way there? And
Maybe that's our homework.
what's that?
Maybe that's our
Yeah,
homework.
yeah,
You just gave us our homework assignment.
yeah. I mean, even just the whole concept. How do you keep the heart open? When you have all these feelings that are coming in there, you know, that's the challenge. But yeah, maybe I'll write something up about keeping the heart open. I'll have to think about it. Okay, we got Rich Sanders. You got something about Chaitanya, you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna pop in with that thought, but I was I'll I'm not gonna give a long spiel here, but I was reading in the Infinite Intelligence, and it is intellectual, I admit. It's dry, it's intellectual, but and on page 163, Baba expressed what I would have been looking for a long time, and that's this the bridge between him as avatar and each of us as jivatmas. And the short answer of it is that God is working as each of us, trying to become conscious of himself, who is unconscious in us and all of our sanskars, of course. And therefore, his will, in terms of the avatar work, especially with us, followers of Baba, is to guide us to exactly what you're talking about, Jeff. And how it happens is we're destined in a way, but how it happens is going back to grace, this grace you're talking about. But in my case, I get little snippets of in my heart of what it's like to feel beyond all these limitations, to feel his presence. And those are the glory moments of my day and night. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. And as Darwin says, the deeper heart is the closest to our soul. So that the whole the whole approach, the whole trajectory is to get into the deeper part of our heart, and then we can feel the warmth of the divine love flowing in. Yeah. Hey, I see Emmy just. And Christina, you just had something to say? Yeah.
No, I just think it's probably one of the most beautiful passages we've read so far. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
should read it again. And like I say, he's getting into the inner landscape of the heart, and
And he touches on removing veils, which is something I've been interested in. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. We're coming down to the end here. Have we got anyone, Goer, have you got a quote or anyone else?
And I just want to acknowledge Nazreen is here.
Yeah, we're going to get her at the end. We won't let her get out.
Well, Jeff, I actually have 3 quotes for you
Oh,
on,
good.
yeah. If you want me to read all 3, I will.
Sure,
Otherwise, we'll
yeah.
later. The first one goes like this. Baba says, "You have feeling for me in your hearts, and because of it, you may remember me often during the day, but you do not continuously. This feeling or devotion, though good, is not love. It should not be mistaken for love, because that real love, which is to see and know God, cannot be created. It has to be bestowed. It is bestowed through the grace of the Master, and such grace is conferred on a very, very lucky few." That's the first one.
Wow.
Okay. So I'll go on to the next one. Next one is, "You would not be able to do it," into parentheses, "have no thought of self as Majnu did, if you tried. It needs grace. Trying leads to grace."
That's a little more hopeful. Thank you.
Yeah, that attracts.
So keep trying.
Yeah, either that or really look pathetic.
Yeah, right. And the last one goes, "Ask God not for money, fame, power, health, or children, but for his grace of love, which will lead you to eternal bliss and freedom." Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
That first
Thank
quote
you, Gopher.
reminded me of another quote from Baba.
Yeah.
Another quote where, see if I can remember it.
Somebody's.
Feelings, energy and feelings are the creation of the mind. Love is the creation of the soul. I think maybe Tony has that one exactly right. Feelings and energy are creations of the mind. Love is the creation of the soul. Tony, you aware of that, or?
No.
Yeah.
Sounded right.
Yeah, it's a great quote. I'll try to get that for sure. And now let's have a few moments of silence, and then Nasreen will ring the bell, the curfew. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Okay, Nasreen, we defer to you.
Sure. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Jai Baba. Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Anybody can go. If there was there any comments or anything at all?
I don't know if I should mention this or not because I got here late. I was looking to find that dream that with Monty and Erich where they said my name was Grace, and they talked about grace. I found it, but I got here late, and it's kind of late now, so I didn't want to bring it up. But since you called, if there's anyone who has anything else to mention, so maybe another week I can bring it.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, I mean, if it takes a while, save it for next week. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, I found the quote. Feelings and emotions are only the creation of the mind and energy. Love is the creation of the soul.
Excellent. I mean, this is really, I mean, because feelings are not necessarily love, because the ego can assert itself through feelings as well. So the heart is, you can't give a blank check to the heart, you know, because it's great, a vehicle for love, but it's also a great vehicle for the ego. So, Peter, read that, yes, once again.
Yes. It says feelings and emotions are only the creation of the mind and energy. Love is the creation of the soul.
Yeah, that spells it out pretty clearly.
Jeff, thanks for hosting these meetings. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I mean, what, you know, I'm just sitting around occupying space here on the gateway. No customers, nothing. Yeah. Anyway,
Customers.
so you have a nice week, everybody. It was nice to see you, Alan. You know, great to see you, and Sarah there. Well, Sarah, where do you live?
I'm in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, Reno. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see
Close to the
Emmy
right coast.
Sorry?
You're close to the right coast.
Yeah.
The right coast. The west coast.
Yeah, and Prakash came from somewhere. I don't know if he's in India or what. But Jim Frasino, we got him from Australia. So there are a few guys.
Well, we
Ken
have
Nunsley.
Germany in the house.
Germany at 4 a.m, you know. Typical day.
And
Five in the morning.
What time?
5.
Yeah.
Now it's 5.
Now it's 5.
Okay.
That's Baba
It's
time.
about time you guys got up.
We're going back to bed, but never mind.
Anyway,
Okay.
much love to all of you. Have a nice week
Good
with Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank
Remember, he
you.
loves and adores you no matter what.
Yes.
Thank
So
goodness.
all the bad things you do, don't feel bad about it.
Okay.
Oh, hey,
Blank
good.
check.
Bye, Payam.
Love is an action,
Good.
not a feeling.
Dinesh is on. I saw.
Yeah, Baba.
Jay Baba.
Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba, Jeff.
Yeah, nice to see you, Dinesh. Yeah,
Yes.
and Payam, she made an appearance there. Patty, Oregon, all that. Oh,
Hey, Baba.
okay.
Bye, Baba.
Jay Baba. Bye-bye.
Hey, Baba.
Hey, Baba. Thank you. Jay Bob.
Hey, Baba. Thank
Hey,
you,
Baba. Hey,
Jeff.
Baba.
I'm not the one who's got.
Looks like no one wants to leave.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the person who's
Thank you, Orang's mom.
has disappeared.
I think of you when Orang comes on and starts reading some of his magnificent quotes. Nasreen,
Yes,
you're
yes,
never far
yes.
from that.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Man, this is a fantastic experience. This meeting.
Yeah,
Sarah,
absolutely.
nice meeting you. Nice meeting you, Sarah. I love your name, Sarah Ann Granette.
Nice meeting you too.
movie producer, you know, I see it at the bottom of the screen all the time.
Thank you.
Are you a
I'll think
teacher?
about, am I a teacher?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're thinking of my mom. She's the consummate teacher. You must have seen that in my identity.
Oh,
What you said was interesting about identity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you look like someone who could deal with students, you know.
Oh, thank you.
Students
I
would
do
enjoy
like it.
you. Yeah.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. I do enjoy teaching. Yeah, when I get the chance.
Well,
What's your profession?
lazy bum. Baba. Baba forced me to learn how to work along the way. And
Yeah.
so it's part of my Chaitanya to actually do things, you know, try to work, you know. Like Tony's my age and we identify with each other somewhat from past connections. And this whole experience, what Jeff's talking about now, I'm going through a lot of it, and I can see lots of residual sanskaras that I don't think I'll get rid of in this life, if you want to call it that. But I think somehow Baba directs us using the energies we have. Like in Tony's identity, he's a consummate artist and
Oh.
you know, singer and musician and all this stuff. And so Baba's going to move him in that direction in his next incarnation. It just Baba works to bring them out how his work can get done in any individual. And that would be Tony's kind of work.
It's interesting always to hear how people perceive you.
Yeah. But I have a different story about quit drinking. Baba had to take a club and use it on me to get me to stop drinking beer. That was a long time ago now, you know, like, you know, I don't know, 12 years ago or so. But it's a story that uh, about the avatar he'll give you so much leash, you know, so much leash. And pretty soon he's going to say, hey, he'll drag you back to the path and that's it. He'll do it. He can do
Unless you're Muhammad Must, and then he'll give you just so much dish.
it. Yeah, there you go. Dish.
Muhammad
Dish.
used to pick up dirt in the ground. And he would say he was looking for dish.
That was great fun. That was great. Uh, but Sarah, you look like you're young. Youthful.
I'm 54.
My God, you look young. Wow.
Oh, thanks.
Well, compared to us, you are young.
Yeah. Yep. I got hair growing in my ears. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. That stage of life is I have this little tool and I somehow got it with a pair of hair clippers, I think, but it's got a little tiny moving you know, cutter blade on it, and it fits perfectly in your ears. So I just stick it in there and rotate it around. So I look like my ears look 10 years younger.
You have to be a certain age to share a story
Yeah,
like
you
that.
and usually male. You know, it's not something. But I mean, when they start showing on the screen, it's getting gross.
It might be genetic. I had a cousin who's been growing hair out of his ear since he's been like 12, so it might not be your age.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
Well, Reno's close. I'm in Grand Junction, so I'm just
Where?
at Grand Junction.
Where's that?
It's on the west slope. It's 17 miles from Utah border on
Oh,
I-70.
no kidding.
So Reno would just be a straight drive across Utah
Oh, wow.
and Nevada. I mean, you know.
Right where all the aliens are.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, right?
I stay away from them. Yeah.
Well, I
What's the
mean,
name of that
there's,
place?
huh?
What's the name of that place? The where the
Oh,
aliens?
Roswell?
Area
Area 51. That's
Area
right.
51.
Area 51. Yeah, I mean, didn't Baba say? I mean, Baba was very mysterious about aliens, but he didn't rule them out. I mean, he didn't say there weren't any. He didn't say.
What I read that he told that South African journalist Irene Connie Bear, when she asked where the UFOs, about UFOs, he said, all I'll say is they're not from another planet.
They're what?
That they were not from another planet. Yeah.
Oh,
And he
I
told her
haven't
other
heard
things.
that.
He told her other things, but he said not to put it in the book.
mm.
So maybe some of the countries are experimenting with spacecraft, and they don't, it's top secret, or that's my guess what it was. But that doesn't mean there aren't, folks that are not showing off in spaceships, just landing and
Well, I think it did make
running for office.
yeah,
Could be.
it did make an impression on me when I heard that there are people incarnating from planet B to
Oh
Earth here
yeah.
in planet A. This incredible amount of intelligence that
Yeah.
if you really think about it, designing some of the stuff that now is common to us, it's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, even the iPhone to me is, oh my God. And look how fast that ramped up,
Well, that's it. I mean, didn't Baba say that because it's the time of the Avatar Springtide, all the people are incarnating from planet B. So yeah, so that totally explains all the fast technology. I just think that's so fascinating. I agree. And then, but then what's going to happen to them after the Avatar Springtide? I mean, because already the population's going down. So do they go back to planet B?
Peter Nordin's covered some of this in his talks, which is interesting. But Creation and Its Causes does a pretty good job with this. It's fun to read. Fun to read.
Creation and Its Causes. Okay, I was just looking at the books today and thinking about what I need to like brush up on. Chris Ott talks about it too a little bit, so I have to watch more of his videos. But I don't know. I mean, we were talking earlier about all of this stuff coming up because we're getting older, but I agree. I'm sorry I don't remember the lady who said it. Was it Paula? Who said that or maybe Jennifer said that it's also coming up because of the time we're in. So the time we're in would be the Avatar Springtide, and 2, the new humanity. So, I mean, yeah, all of these sanskaras really do, whether we want to or not, we're going to have to deal with these sanskaras if we want to go into the new humanity.
Yep. Yep.
Well, and we may have some rough stuff to go through during the transition, which I think has already begun. And
Yeah.
it may likely get a little bit worse before it gets better, I think.
I've been joking lately about eating nuts and berries and twigs,
Right.
Mama, can't we have a little cheesecake in there somewhere?
A little berry cheesecake sounds good. But wait, what is the general feeling amongst Baba lovers? Because I know that Baba said I remember somebody saying that it would be a gradual transition, and that when Baba comes again in 800 years, it's already going to be the new humanity. But then he also said that 2/3 or 3/4 of the world would be destroyed. So, what's the general idea amongst Baba lovers lately? Is it that what's going to be destroyed are the mental and physical sanskaras, and that's what he's and subtle sanskaras, and that's what he's I'm sorry, the mental and subtle sanskaras, but the physical sanskaras, will be okay. Or is it what's the general idea? What's the general consensus about how this new
I
humanity is
don't
going
know
to
the
take place?
general idea in me. So I wouldn't even try to guess on a whole community.
You mean you haven't figured it out for yourself yet?
What you brought up is interesting.
Living right now in the now, I think, is the whole
Yeah,
point
that's
of all
wise.
that.
That's wise.
Well, it is interesting because I prognosticate that you're right, that if Baba, through the Manasas and the new life, if Baba is going to destroy a lot of these excessive egotistical energies, which is on the subtle plane, and maybe and the mental, obviously,
Yeah.
then there will only be only those who can sustain the experience of the avatar more directly will be allowed to incarnate. I know that sounds extreme, but I think that is in line with what's going to take place. But it's clearly going to take a few hundred years. But I'm looking forward to seeing Tony again. You know,
A lot's going to happen astrologically speaking. I think it's very likely that a lot is happening between 2020 and 2040.
yeah.
And
Astrologically.
there are reasons for that, and some of the stuff I just read today, and I didn't know, and I've been studying this since I was like 16. But yeah, every 20 years there's a shift, and then maybe every 200 and 300 years there's another shift related to that, and this big shift happened, this one, in 2020, and
Oh.
and it continues until the next on in 2040. But this is one of those big ones, like where Baba talks about it will be a cycle of cycles. It will be the beginning and the end of a cycle of cycles.
Yeah.
This is astrologically 2020 was the beginning of a cycle of cycles.
Oh, big.
Now I don't know if that's the same cycles Baba was talking about.
You know, there was an interesting thing posted on Facebook, and it was posted by Pam Rubenstein, but it was of a woman, Amy Wallen, who was a student of Margaret's from the age of 10. And so I don't know how old Amy Wallen is, but she's got to be fairly old, you know. But her statement is that it came as a message to her. It's very short. I'll read it because I think kind of reiterates this theory. But she says, the following message was told to me December 12th, 2022 at 7 a.m. I was instructed to transmit this urgent message from Meher Baba. I shall light the world. The time is coming near. When all is awash in chaos and darkness, I shall light the world. Once thirst has reached a fever pitch, creation will drink the essence of my truth, and every soul shall rise, gather round, and know me to be their father. One flash of my divinity will shake the world to its core and bring humanity to a standstill. Be ever ready to hold on to me. The shock will be greater than you can imagine. Many will be freed from their present bodies. A number will be liberated from the cycle of births and deaths. But only a chosen few will be invited to sup with the Lord. So, you know, it's a quote from someone who obviously knows who Baba is and all that. But I've had no personal revelations. But like Tony said, what's going on now is such a shift that from a spiritual point of view, it's as if there's something starting to manifest through the upper planes of awareness, I think you might call it, from Baba, from God, down through the subtle. And once it hits the subtle, the gross is going to reflect it. So whatever that's about, we'll see.
Well, I remember Alaba in, I guess, 1972, 72, saying about Baba breaking his silence and manifesting. And he says, what is the right time? When the whole population of the world, north,